I'm not actually going to do the whole question. I'm really just looking at this because it's one of those types of questions that can catch you out, particularly because of the fact there is a 2x squared and a 3y squared in the quadratic. And if you look at the linear is sitting there at the minute with a y term. So y is the subject and is sitting there ready to be used nicely. But there's also a 2x, and the 2x, some pupils might think you can work with the 2x. Now I just want to put this up as just a little bit of a warning. We have y equals 2x minus 6. Now our problem is if we decide to rearrange and make 2x the subject, we get 2x equals y plus 6. And we may have a pupil who thinks, oh, I know, I've got a 2x squared here, so what I'm going to do next is this. Now I'm writing this in red because this is actually a mistake that I want you to look out for and not do. So if we have this 2x and we think 2x appears here in the question, so I'm just going to replace this 2x with y plus 6, then the mistake that can be made is this. We write down where we see the 2x, y plus 6, and then we just say, oh, there's a square term here, so I'll just square the whole thing. And that is wrong. So what I want you to realise is the 2x squared is not the same as 2x all squared. And that's what you've actually done when you did that before I scored it out. So I want you to realise that's a mistake to look out for. And what we're going to do next now is show you a good way to approach this question. So what we should do is keep the y term just as it is. There are no fractions involved. Leave it as it is and substitute that linear equation into this part of the quadratic. So if we do that, we get 2x squared minus 3y squared equals 20. 2x squared minus 3, and then at this point you're going to substitute your value for y just in here into the bracket. So our value for y is 2x minus 6, and if you look carefully you'll see that that bit is squared. The 3 is not squared, so it sits on its own. The y is squared, so you write down squared and then equals 20. And really this is the bit that you have to be very careful about then. I'm not actually going to end up finishing this entire question. This is really just to show you the substitution part that will catch so many pupils out, and then they'll lose marks. So remember, whenever we have an all squared term like this, you've been taught to write that out as 2 brackets because squared means multiplied by itself, and you get equals 20. So what we have now is a set of brackets that need to be expanded. And we do that carefully by first of all leaving the 3, using FOIL on these 2 brackets, and then multiplying out. So we've got 2x squared, we've got minus 3, we're now multiplying out our brackets using FOIL. So we've got 2x times 2x, and that gives us 4x squared. We've then got our inside and our outside terms, so inside and outside terms, so that's minus 12x minus 12x, so overall minus 24x. And finally, minus 6 times minus 6 is positive 36. And that is all equal to 20. Apologies if you hear background noise. The dishwasher's on at the minute. So what we have now, oh, maybe I should go back one step there. What we do now then is multiply out our brackets. I was going to go ahead and write it out again. So multiply out, and we get minus 12x squared, multiply here, minus 3 times minus 24, which is positive 72x, and then multiply here, minus 3 times positive 36. and we get minus 108. And you see how you have to be very, very careful with that negative term and the multiplying out. So finally, simplifying. Now when we simplify, we end up here with minus 10x squared plus 72x minus 108, and then take away 20 because we're going to bring it over to the left. And we finish. Two more lines really I would take over this. First of all, simplify the two number terms by bringing them together, so you get minus 128. And then at this point I would just make the x squared term positive. Okay, you're not going to be able to do anything with that until you do that. So either think of multiplying across the whole equation by minus 1, or bringing everything over to the right hand side, whichever way you prefer to think of it. So we get 10x squared minus 72x plus 128 equals 0. And I'm not going to go on and finish it, but it looks like this question is going to involve the quadratic formula if you did. And just so you know, this wee video clip will really help you with a little class test coming up very soon.